Toby and Henrietta have been helping around the quarry a lot lately. They were in charge of taking the workmen to the quarry at the daytime and bringing them back to the station when it's closing time. They didn't find it easy at all. There were way too many workmen for them to carry. Henrietta doesn't like the idea of carrying all of them, and neither does Toby. But thankfully they have Bertie who helps them carry the rest, so it's not so difficult for everyone. But one day, everything was very difficult for the two of them. Bertie broke down and was getting repaired with new parts, so the two had to do all the work themselves. "Get in quickly, please!" But when all the workmen climbed into Henrietta, they felt cramped and squashed like a tomato. Even Henrietta herself hated it. She could have sworn that her buffers were nearly touching the ground from the heavy workmen.
I don't think I'm able to move. Toby, there's got to be someone else to help us.
I'm sorry, dear, but we can't have any help right now. Everyone is really busy today, so we're on our own instead.
Henrietta was very upset to hear that. She would have loved some help from someone to make things easier. Just then, the guard blew his whistle, and Toby started to move. It was not easy at all from pulling all the workmen in his coach. But he kept on trying. At last, they were moving on the rails. But that didn't make it easier for him. He was moving slower than he normally does. When he passes by an engine or a few people, they stare at him with weird expressions on their faces. But Toby just ignores them and continues his journey to the quarry. When they made it to the crossing, he looked both ways to see if there was anyone coming. And there wasn't. So Toby rang his bell and set off again. But then there was trouble. Out of nowhere, a car was racing on the roads really fast, and when Toby tried to stop, it was too late. Luckily, no one was seriously hurt, but Toby's buffers were a bit bent and a police officer saw the wreck. He walked up to them and started writing in his notebook.
"Listen, officer. We checked both sides of the crossing and we were free to go."
I don't care. It still caused a serious wreck that could have killed someone. I'll be speaking to your manager later.
He got back onto his bike and left the miserable engine behind.
Just as I thought today couldn't get any more difficult, it just had to happen. How can this get any worse?
Toby didn't say anything. He just stared up at the sky, praying for a miracle. The next day, the inspector came to talk to the manager after hearing what happened with Toby and the car.
"There seems to be too many problems already, and you need to fix it before it gets any worse."
Look, it wasn't Toby's fault. He was just doing his job and that car was being clueless.
"I'm aware of that, and I'm not going to put any charges against you or his crew. But with Toby having to pull every single workman in his small coach, that'll cause even more trouble. So I suggest you find someone to help him carry them before even more trouble happens. Good day."
And just like that, the inspector walked towards his car and drove away. The manager had no idea what to do and was feeling stressed about it.
If only Bertie didn't break down.
Meanwhile, Thomas was on his branch line pulling passengers with his two coaches. When he stopped at a station, he was in a very bright mood. "What a brilliant day today! How can anything get in the way for a day like this?" But he spoke too soon, as he heard a mysterious voice.
"Hello? Is someone there?"
Thomas was surprised. He was now puzzled on what he could hear. Who's there?" But there wasn't a reply. It was pure silence now, but Thomas was still curious on who that could be. He figured the voice came from behind the trees, so he slowly puffed towards the trees, and he was surprised by what he found. The voice came from an old-looking coach. She was rusty and didn't even have wheels, but she was friendly and caring-looking, and spoke to him again.
"Oh there! I've seen you passing by here." many times for years now. My name is Victoria, and I can tell you that you take care of your coaches well like a useful engine does. What's your name?
My name is Thomas. How long have you been there? But before she could answer, the guard blew his whistle. Oh, sorry, I gotta get moving. It was nice meeting you, Victoria. So he coupled back to his coaches and set off for the next station. Victoria was upset at this. She wanted to know more about him and be friends with him. It's been a long time since she was put there and hasn't moved at all. She hasn't even had friends for a long time and wants to be a really useful coach again. But little did she knew that her big break was about to happen. That night at the sheds, Toby was talking to Thomas about the chaos he and Henrietta had to go through.
I'm telling you, Thomas, we may be happy to pull passengers again after the shutdown of our railway, but this is taking things too far. Without Bertie helping us, we have to do all the work ourselves. If only someone was able to help us instead of being busy all the time.
That was Thomas's chance to tell Toby about Victoria. So he took a deep breath and started talking to him. Actually, Toby, I might know someone who can help. I just met her today, but didn't have enough time to get to know her due to my schedule.
Really? What's her name?
Her name is...
Thomas, don't you dare start talking about that coach from today. She doesn't have any wheels and leaks like an old pipe, so I don't see the point rambling about her, and don't you dare talk about her tonight.
But Thomas didn't listen to him and talked to Toby about Victoria anyway. Toby was surprised by what he heard.
Good grief, Thomas. She was there all this time and now you're noticing her? You better tell Sir Topham Hatt about this.
Thomas agreed and got his chance the next morning. When he was picking up passengers at the first station, there was Sir Topham Hatt making sure everything was working like clockwork. Sir, can I talk to you for a minute? He told him about the old coach who needs repairs and can definitely help Toby and Henrietta for carrying the workmen. Sir Topham Hatt liked the idea and called the quarry manager and told him everything, and they agreed to start working on Victoria. When Toby and Henrietta arrived at the quarry, the manager was there waiting for them with the news.
I have very good news for you two. There's finally going to be someone who can help you carry the workmen back and forth.
Who is it?
Oh, I can't tell you that right now till we have everything scheduled, but you'll like the new help. Just wait for a few days and you'll see who it is. You're going to need all the help you can get.
Toby knew who the help was going to be, but he stayed silent and pretended that he didn't know, leaving the confused coach left out.
Don't worry, Hans. I'm sure it's going to be someone important for us.
That made her feel a bit better, but still wondering who could this important help be.